Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
Welcome back to the Mel K Show. This is the show that is about solutions. It's about you living your best life now, no matter what. There is a huge dividing and ugly scenario going on everywhere you turn on social media and the media, but forget it. Now, we have to all start focusing on who we are, what we want for this country, but even more, what we want for ourselves and how we want to be part of the solution. And the best person to teach that to me, and hopefully you guys, is the great Clay Clark, a man who has turned dreams into businesses and opportunities into great lives. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Hey, thank you, by the way, for letting me be here with your listeners. And I will say, if you're watching today's show and you feel like you need to make some more income, let's forget the label of I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, if you're watching this show and you say, I'm trying to make more income so that I can do what I believe God's called me to do, Mel, that's really the heart of today's show.
Exactly. And that is what you've been doing for years and years. A lot of people know you because of the Reawaken tours, but really for now decades, you have been one of the best and one of the top business coaches and career coaches out there. But really what you help people do is narrow down their own goals and you have a very good plan about what should matter to people and what they should keep track of with your, I think it's the 5 Fs, but something to that effect. So while people are being so, I mean, what I'm watching online right now, it's so embarrassing. There is no left and right, but they're fighting each other like it's your fault, it's your fault. They don't even work for us. And then if we're going to wait or think Mamdani, oh, the government's going to save us, it's the opposite. So, Clay, what should people right now actually be prioritizing and focusing on if they want to lift themselves up and lift up the people around them and change their own lives rather than hoping and waiting for something else to happen?
Well, I'm going to get really small with this idea, and then maybe we get big. But I'll tell you a story. I was in Washington, D.C., and I was invited there. This is very recently, by the way. I was invited by Kash Patel and Peter Navarro to give my kids a tour. And so, Mel, we've got 5 kids. Rob, we're going to the White House. We're in line, and there's a vendor there. And this vendor happened to not be white. I have no idea what his political leanings were, nor did I ask. But he said, "Sir, would you like an ice cold water?" And I go, and I, wasn't expecting that question. And I go, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "When would you like one for the lady?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." And what about the 5 kids? He's like, "I'll tell you what, if you buy 7, I'll give 1 free." And he's just working it. Well, I watched this guy, Mel, and this guy, the economy could be up, it could be down. He could be a Republican, he could be a Democrat, he could be black, he could be white. In this case, he happened to be black. But this guy was hustling. And I said, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and take one for everyone in my family. But furthermore, I want to talk to you. You've got the grind. I love it. Where are you from?" And we started having this great conversation about the grind. And so if you're watching today's show, and I don't care if you're selling hot dogs, I don't care if you're selling tools, I don't care if you're selling meat, I don't care if you're selling makeup, I don't care if you're selling precious metals. Step number 1, there's 5 things I want to get into today. One is you've got to have the mindset that if it is to be, it is up to me. Or in this case, if it's going to be, you have that mindset of like, if it's going to, this is the street vendor, he wasn't looking for the government or for Trump or for Biden to help him. He was just asking people with a lot of energy, and he had a lot of fun with it. And Rob, I watched this guy, and for probably a 15-minute window, he was hilarious. Mel, he was like, "Folks, do you want wet water? Are you tired of not wet water? Let me get," and he had all these little lines of like 100% wet water, and he made it fun. And yeah, it was a tedious thing. But Mel, I think step number 1 is we got to recognize that if it is going to be, it is up to me. And I think somebody out there needs to hear this, because if you're not careful, you think the Republicans or the Democrats or Biden or Trump, or you're like a local congressman or congresswoman. And I just think it's very important that step number 1, you just write it down, folks. If it is going to be, it's up to me. And to me, Mel, that's where you start to generate some joy and some empowerment and maybe a little swag, a little enthusiasm. And this guy out in the hot sun having a great time, Mel.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. And like we've talked about many times, we have been kind of conditioned to think that we're helpless or that things are too overwhelming. Let's just stay, nose to the grindstone, follow the rules, do all of that. A lot of people out there, they have dreams, they have ideas, they have, they have things that they think they can do or want to do, but they're waiting for permission. And that's another thing that it's up to me is also many people out there put things aside for tomorrow, or are waiting for the right day or the right opportunity or this or that. That's not really how success happens. Success is a daily choice to go the other direction, which is every single day say, I give myself permission to live my best life now. I give myself permission to try this. I give myself permission to fail. Whatever the case may be, I notice a lot of people waiting for permission. And you tell me a lot, because you coach me too, is, what do I actually control and what can I actually do? If I'm thinking about everything else and I'm waiting for permission and I'm waiting for the next, welcome aboard, that's just a waste of time and energy and takes you, maybe to a place where you never do it.
Another thing that Clay, that you said that was really important was that, action, taking those steps actually makes you feel better. So I know whenever I was kind of down about something or another, my mom always told me, well, let's, do something about it. Like do one little step, and one step after the other, you're part of the solution, and you actually feel better about it. Now, one of the things that, because we're dealing with all this stuff, news and whatnot, what can we do about it? Well, for us, we started talking about it, and we started getting involved, and we started making the change that we wanted to see out there.
And you can do it in many different ways, Clay. You've done it yourself, and you've done it with all kinds of businesses. You have clients that are, cleaning and building and lawyers and doctors. And, there's so many people out there, and all they really need is a push out of the nest. And some tools, and that's what we have you on every week for, is to share different tools, different partners, different clients of yours that have really, decided to take life on themselves and have made great success at it.
Mel, I want to tell you a true story. It involves you. I'm saying this to you. Rob, I'm saying this to your incredible wife here. I want her to know this. A longtime mentor of mine, her name is Lori. And Lori was the first person I was around that had some money when I lived in Oklahoma. So my best friend, Chris, his mom's name was Lori. And my mom and dad, we moved to Minnesota when I was 12 to avoid financial calamity. So we moved to Minnesota. My mom got a job working for her sister. And I asked my parents, I said, Mom and Dad, can I move to Oklahoma every summer? And they go, what? I go, I want to go back home where I feel like I'm home every summer. I'll live with you guys during the year, but I'd like to go home every summer. And they're like, why? And I go, I want to live with Lori and Mike, that's the husband, wife, and be around Chris, because she's an entrepreneur, business person, and I want to see how she does it. So they said, okay, sure. So the first summer I went down there. And by the way, I saved up money, my own money, to pay for the ticket. And this is when tickets were about $500 a piece. I'm flying on a TWA flight from Minnesota into Tulsa. And Lori said to me, she said, Chris, if you want to save up, that's her son, if you want to save up and buy a truck someday, you're going to have to find a way to afford it. And Chris was like, okay. She said, why don't you guys make bird feeders? And I remember Chris and I going, bird feeders? She goes, there's the state fair. You guys could get a booth. And we're going, how do we make bird feeders? She said, you find abandoned privacy fences, and you'll sand them down, and you'll make bird feeders, and you can paint them, and we can sell a ton of them. And I'm going, bird feeders? And she goes, I see these people, they sell a lot of bird feeders at the state fair. You guys could do it too. And that was the first time I saw somebody with no previous experience in the bird feeder world or any type of industry. And she literally thrust this idea on us. She goes, you guys spend your whole day talking about how you wish someday when you're 16, 4 years from now, you're going to get a car. Well, I'm showing you a path. You guys can make enough money this summer to buy a truck. Well, I talked to Lori yesterday. Lori called me up and she said, hey, you have a friend of yours that did an interview with Roseanne. She said, I don't know if you know, but Roseanne was a big inspiration for me. And she was a big source of empowerment. And your friend, I think, just interviewed her. Now, this is a woman now in her late 60s who's my friend's mom. She calls me to tell me this story, and she says, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are encouraging so many people, and you have no idea how much it encourages me to hear you guys talking about concepts like this. So she said, say hello to your friend. So that friend is you, Mel. So again, Lori from Oklahoma.
Hi, Lori.
It's a real Lori. If you're out there, Lori, Mel did an interview with Roseanne a few weeks ago. Yeah, so Mel, Mel will be on with Roseanne on the Roseanne Barr podcast.
I last weekend in Austin. Now, I do want to say thank you for that. And also, side note, I executive produced a documentary about Roseanne called Roseanne Barr is America. And it tells the true story of her. And she is quite the American, success story. Like, people don't even know. And I'm very proud of it. So I hope people go check it out on Roku, Apple TV, elsewhere. I also wanted to say, Clay, that we have an event coming up, and I'm getting super excited for it because the Tulsa event was such a success and we met such great people. And I want people to know we're going to do another business event with Eric Trump and Clay in California coming up December 4th and 5th. You can find all of the information at Thrive Time Show and get your ticket. Also, it is on the events page on the Mel K Show, and it's going to be amazing. I am so excited. I'm excited to meet some people I don't know. I'm excited because a lot of my audience is looking forward to coming and being inspired. And this is about, again, the same thing that we talk about a lot, which is you have to decide what your future is going to look like and take action to make it happen. And when Clay puts together these amazing conferences around 4 times a year for years and years, way before the Reawaken, it's created a community of entrepreneurs that have all different skills and really want to help each other while they're helping themselves. So I highly encourage people to join us at Clay's business event coming up. Anything you want to say about that, Clay?
Yeah.
Because I want to hear a little bit about the aftermath of the Tulsa event, because it was very successful, and I want people to understand what they're going to get.
Well, a couple things, Mel, is I always do a free 13-point assessment for every business owner, and I don't charge anything, and you don't have to become a client for that to happen. So after the event, I'm not exaggerating. I think we did a little over 100. This was the crowd. This was the audience in attendance.
Yeah.
At the and again, our next one is December 4th and 5th, December, the month of Christmas, December 4th and 5th. Someone says, well, where do I go to get a ticket? You go to thrivetimeshow.com. So thrivetimeshow.com, you go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. And once you go there, you just click here and you scroll down, you can request tickets. And again, the tickets are $250 or whatever price that you want to pay. We teach marketing and branding and sales, and you do a big group photo, but here we are. And I did over 113-point assessments after this event. And there's a lot of people, Mel, that have great ideas and they just needed to refine that idea, and I'll give you an example. We had one person who's not a client. Maybe someday in the future they will be a client, but they wanted to open up an assisted living facility, and they were running an assisted living business where they go to the homes of their customers. And they were talking about how to open up a facility. And so we gave them a very detailed path and a very detailed plan. And they recognized, wow, I probably need to save up money for a couple years and then come back to this idea. It didn't cost them any money to have that consultation. Now, another example, we had a wonderful dentist from the Seattle area who was attending the event, and he did become a client. And we're going through, this is a true story, I'm not exaggerating. We went through the 13-point assessment, and we found in this particular guy's case, he was spending over $10,000 a month on things that he did not know about. And you go, how is that possible? He was insuring things he didn't own. That was odd. Insuring things he did not own. So he had an insurance policy paying for things he didn't own. He had a lot of auto ship, auto send, auto stuff coming in, but it wasn't going to him. And he's going, I don't get these products. I wonder who does. Turns out he had some former employees that were sending stuff. And probably the biggest issue of all time, this is incredible. He had an employee that was a contractor working for him, and they no longer worked for him. But they kept paying them on a recurring, and they didn't actually do anything since they'd been terminated. So they're just getting paid recurring, and they weren't doing anything. And so I'm just telling you, this was a guy, we got off the phone. He's like, sign me up. We already saved over 10 grand in the first 30 minutes. I like it. So again, if you're watching this show, you say, well, wow, how can this help me? If you want to learn branding, marketing, sales, accounting, legal, workflows, and then we had a couple
Website.
We do the websites, we do search engine optimization, we do branding, we do videography, photography, web. And one more story I want to share with you. We had somebody in attendance. We had a husband and wife that came to the conference, and they brought their daughter. And the daughter is 15 years old, and the mom and daughter run this business together, and they have built a very, very successful home cleaning company. And they first had the idea to launch that company at 2 conferences ago. And now, being kind of vague here, but now they're making more money than most teachers make if you've been teaching for 30 years. So think about that. If you're watching this right now and you've been a school teacher for 30 years, think about how much money you would get paid per year to be a teacher in Florida, New York, Oklahoma, whatever that is. She now makes more money per month than a teacher would who's been doing the same thing for 30 years with all that education. So all I'm just saying is, no matter if you're a startup, if you're a dentist who, and by the way, this dentist was doing huge amounts of revenue, and he was just going, I keep running out of money before the end of the month. And so again,
I want to say something that you just said, because there are a lot of teachers that have had it with what is going on, and they just want to help and teach kids. And you also have a former teacher that started a tutoring business that exploded. I heard that whole story, which is amazing. So it's like, whatever you're doing out there, you have to realize that you have a gift and you have ideas, and sometimes you just need a objective person that knows how to build and scale businesses to kind of put you on the right direction. I also want to say you have helped me and Rob since we brought you on, because we needed to figure out the old podcast model has been shifting and changed dramatically. And we were looking for, like, what can we do? And I just said, let's just go to Clay and do the 13-point assessment. And then you did the same thing for us. Where are you wasting money was first and foremost. How do we save you money? Where are you wasting money? Where can we get rid of, things that we don't need? And, sometimes you need that, because like Rob always says, you're the best coach he's had, because you're not emotional. Like, you don't get emotional. You don't get your feelings hurt. You don't really care. You just, he came out yesterday after your call with Rob, and he goes, Clay's so damn practical.
That's all I do. You know, Mel, I'll say this real quick so your listeners know this. I want your listeners to know this. This is so big, folks. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. I want everyone listening to know this. Back in the day, Mel, before you decided to start speaking out the truth, there was a podcast model. I'm going to show people how it used to work, okay? So we're going to go to rumble.com and I'm going to search for Mel K. But back in the day, you would put a podcast on like YouTube, right? And you would talk about YouTube and the conversation could be about anything. This concept of free speech was unique to America. We were having it. And then what happened is that you as a podcaster, you would just put out your show and then you got paid based upon the views. So you would get paid per view directly from YouTube. So one of my clients, I'm very real. I'm not going to get myself in trouble here, but I'm being very real. He has a business where he literally goes on YouTube and talks about nothing that matters at all. And he jokes about it. He basically talks about things that don't matter. And I said, how did you pick this niche? And he said, I just, wanted to figure out how it works. And YouTube pays you for the number of hours spent of the viewers spend on a channel, as long as it's not political or unapproved, basically things that you're talking about, truth. So this guy, is making, true story, he's making like $20,000 a month to put out nonsensical videos. And he found this out, super depressing or super impressive. He found out that the majority of the people watching his channel are moms and dads. They go to work and they have an animal at home. And so they hit play so their dog or cat has something to watch. And so he found out that his viewers are not even real people upon further review. So I'm saying this to you as like that model used to work for stuff like what you do, but now it doesn't. Now that model doesn't exist. Now you have to get paid directly from a commission related to an advertiser. So the model for truthers to share the truth is gone. So what I want everyone to do today, right now, if you enjoy the Mel K Show, you enjoy, in spite of me, you enjoy the Mel K Show. What I want you to do is I want everyone to subscribe. And this is a real story. Less than 15% of typical viewers to any podcast subscribe. That's a real thing. Less than 15%. So you want to just go to Rumble, hit subscribe, make that happen. That's thing number one. So more people will see your show. Second thing is, Mel, occasionally you'll bring on, show partners or show sponsors, people that you have vetted, that you've prayed about and thought about and discerned and tried to learn, are they a good fit? And I would encourage everybody, as we're headed into the Christmas season and you're going to buy something anyway, why not buy something from one of your show sponsors? Because you're going to direct that money somewhere, either to Target or Walmart or whatever. Might as well buy a great product from somebody who sponsors your show. And that's the new engine. That's the new model. That's what keeps things going. So before you do buy anything this holiday season, I'd encourage you to go to the Mel K Show. I'm going to pull up your website here. So we head on over here to the Mel K Show. And once you go to the Mel K Show, you can find different resources, and I would encourage you.
You can go to our support and you go to our partners page.
Oh yeah, right there.
And you
Partners.
see all the partners. Now we actually have a new partner that we're going to introduce today. That's someone that you work with. They're not actually even up there yet. But Grid Down Chow Down, we met them at one of your conferences, maybe a year or two ago. And, everything takes time for us. But eventually, we said, this is really an excellent product.
Necessary.
It really fills an important niche. And you also have a success story with them. So we should bring them in.
Okay, great. Here we come.
Bringing them in. Now, for anybody out there that doesn't know, I want to give a little commercial for these guys. Nason, Jordan Roberts, they're brothers. I met them shortly after their father passed away. And we met, I think, Nason, Jordan, we met, your father had passed away and you're running a machine shop. And I want to tell you some things I've got to know about these guys over the past 7-8 years, whatever, is they're super kind, they're super diligent, and they're running a machine shop that their father started. And they are resourceful guys. And so they've made products for the U.S. Army, for Tesla. They have a machine shop. It's first class. Mel, they're making great products for the U.S. military. So these guys are true patriots. And when the lockdowns began and all the quarantines and all that stuff we went through, when we came back to the store, if anybody remembers, we started seeing more and more synthetic meat on the shelves. So you go to the shelves and you're going, hey, I want to get some healthy meat for my kids today. And now you're looking at the label going, Beyond Meat? What's that? Is that a Bill Gates thing? Is this a real thing? Synthetic meat? Is that a real, what is this? And so there's new categories of food, this bioengineered food. And Jordan and Nasa's, probably Nasa's idea, Jordan stole it or vice versa. But anyway, they're going, hey, we could take our machine shop and the precision way that we do things. We could retool it, re-outfit it, invest in hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. And we could use our relationship that we have with Oklahoma ranchers, and we could ship meat to consumers that don't want to eat this bioengineered meat, and they could sell it in a way where it lasts a long time. So if we had a crisis or a problem or something that's unexpected, like we just saw in Jamaica, like we saw in Hawaii, like we've seen anywhere they're trying to put in a smart city, you could have meat that doesn't go bad. And again, can't say enough good things about Nace and Jordan. And so I'll stop talking, Mel, but these guys are great people I've known for a very, very long time.
Well, I'm super excited also because I cannot stop watching things about the mRNA in the animals and the animals dropping dead in Belgium and what they're doing all over the world. It's way worse already, the war on farmers in the EU. But if people think it's not happening here and that there is a concerted effort for the multinational corporations that have basically made it impossible for ranchers, and there's less and less, like we have to reverse that. And that means supporting people like you guys. So let's talk a little bit about you two. Welcome to the Mel K Show. Thank you, Clay, for finally hooking us up. We are excited because I was just at the store and it doesn't even say where the meat is from anymore. It used to say like a product of Chile or a product of somewhere. Nope, nothing. It seems like they don't even care at all to tell us anything. So thank you guys for joining us and for coming. And let's talk a little bit about how you guys started this and how it's going.
Well, yes, thank you for having us on. You know, back during the pandemic, and everybody was standing in line with a face mask, and you couldn't find toilet paper to save your life. You guys remember that?
Hello, yeah. And you were in New York City at that time. It was
Yeah, nonsense. That. And we were scrambling around. You know, my dad was always a guy that liked to be prepared, and he said, "Look, favors are prepared," you know, but he liked to pray a lot too, you know. And there was always a Saturday, you know, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And he always had this quote. And one thing I want my son to do is to be better than me. And that was one thing our dad wanted us to be as well, because we're his legacy. But there's not a someday. And Clay Clark always says, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. And so that is one of the main things we've learned from Clay. And so we realized that we got caught in a spot where we weren't prepared. We had the tools and the resources that we shouldn't have been left in that spot. So we did what everybody else did. And we went and we bought a deep freezer. We bought all the ramen noodles you could find and get your hands on. And we filled that deep freezer, you know, and then it wasn't very long after that. And we had a big power outage. And so we were out of power for like a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And so we realized real fast, all that money we spent on that beef, this isn't sustainable. We can't keep this long-term good in a freezer. Even if we had the generators, even if we had the diesel, if we can't go to the fuel pumps and get diesel anymore, if we can't get gasoline, then this is just kind of, we're going to be spinning our wheels. And so we're like, we need to figure out a better way to do things. So we had food insurance. You know, we have insurance for our cars. We have it for our house. I have it on my wife. I have it on myself. But Clay says you want to have a bad day, but not a bad life. That's why you have insurance. And so we're like, we need to make sure that we have food insurance for our families, whether it's water, good source of water and food that we can eat. And so we started diving in. We ended up meeting this rancher at one of Clay's events, and he was growing grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I've heard about grass-fed, grass-finished, but I didn't know a whole lot about it. He started telling me all the benefits from it. And I said, this is exactly what I want for my family. Hey, and this is what we're getting ready to start doing. I feel like you're a divine appointment right now for us. And so we started teaming up with this rancher, and he'd been going through a hard time. You know, he'd been losing money, hadn't been selling cows. The bank were coming after stuff. It is not easy to be a rancher or a farmer these days.
And he's what, fifth generation?
He's fourth generation.
Fourth generation.
Yeah. So it was passed down from his dad. I'll give you a couple of stats real quick. Back in the 1820s, over 72% of the American population were in farming and ag. If we jump all the way to 2025, can you guys imagine what it is currently?
I can. I know it's horrible.
I would guess 1%.
You are close. It's 0.5. But yeah. So 99.5% of the American population is getting fed from the other 0.5% of the population. And they want to say that that's because we've become better at producing and all these things. And we know that there's a difference between that. And what me and Nace realize is that our food supply chain is very fragile, and it doesn't take much to kill that other 5%. And there's a quote that goes, you know, if you control the food, you control the people. And me and Nace decided, hey, this isn't a spot that we want to be in. We want to make sure that we have choices, because if we don't have choices, we're going to do desperate things. And that's what you started seeing during the pandemic. People started they started making, you know, desperate choices. They started doing things they wouldn't have done. I mean, even when they turned off the, what was it? They just turned off the EBT stuff.
Oh yeah, the SNAP benefits, right?
Yeah. And so people started talking about going into Walmart and they're going to bring their steel-toed boots and all this stuff. Well, in reality, that's going to happen when that affects 42 million people at some time. I mean, if we don't continue to get shipments into the grocery stores every single day with those truck drivers or whatever, I mean, you're going to start seeing something, and you probably don't want to be in those places. And so me and Nate started freeze drying grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and it's from the whole cow, and it's not just from the scraps. So it has all the prime cuts. It has the ribeyes, the sirloins, the fillets, the New York strips, the T-bones. It has all that in it. And so this is something that we wanted, but it's raw. And so when we rehydrate it, it lasts up to 15 years in the package. You don't need a freezer. You don't need a refrigerator. You can put it in your pantry. You can put it underneath your bed,
In your pocket.
you can put it in your to-go bag. You can take 24 pounds of raw meat. And once we get done processing it, it's only going to weigh about 6 or 7 pounds. So people have this in their to-go bags. People are using it for disaster relief because it doesn't need to be in a refrigerator. And it just takes 10 to 15 minutes to rehydrate it. Obviously, you don't want to put a bunch of fluoride water on it with forever chemicals in it, right? but you would so we use, like, you know, spring-fed water and stuff when we're drinking all of our stuff.
Can you explain the ingredients? I know it's complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of big words that's hard to read on here. It says grass-fed, grass-finished beef. That's it. That's all it is.
So no vaccines, right? No vaccine?
No, there's no vaccine.
No hormones?
There's no growth hormones. There's no antibiotics, and
No salt, no pepper, no preservatives.
no, and they don't have the GMO. So they're fed on the prairie, just how God intended them, you know, 2,000, 5,000 years ago, and that's the way to do it. And so what we thought was going to be a product that was just for our family, people started coming to us and saying, how do I get this too? Like, can you make this for me, like on the side or something? And so we started talking to Clay's that I think this is a product that our whole group needs. So you guys need to bring this to market. And so we're like, okay, so we started going down that journey with Clay. We took our 40 years of manufacturing parts for NASA and those other people and started applying it to manufacturing products for you and for us and for our family, because I'm not going to make anything that my family is not going to eat. So everything that we make, it's going to be healthy. And the really cool thing, I don't know how deep you guys want to go into this, but when you start talking about grass-fed, grass-finished, I was talking to the ranchers, I was talking to Dr. Sherwood, but your omega-3s are your omega-3s and your omega-6s are at a 1-to-1 ratio. Once they take those to the feedlot and they get all the grains with the herbicides, the pesticides, the fungicides, and all those things, they can only have those in the feedlot, the cattle in the feedlot for like 90 days or something before their liver starts to explode. And so people want to go to the grocery store and buy beef liver that has been fed out on the food lot. Well, your liver it filters out all those things, and cattle do a pretty good job because they got 4 stomachs, so they ferment their food and all that stuff. So it really helps, but even them themselves, they can't contain all that toxic stuff inside of them. And so
I have a really good quote.
yeah.
You are what you eat.
Yeah. Yep.
So how's business going? You've been working with Clay for how long now?
Well, we've been with Clay for
Oh man, it's we have several different adventures with Clay. It's probably been around 2016, maybe
something
17,
like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ended up buying one of Clay's barbershops. So we own one of the franchises. Yeah. So we do.
I was wondering where it's.
Yeah. I mean, you guys look great. You're good to be the best advertisers for your own barbershop.
This is taking a lot of beef. So
Hell, I want to throw this out real quick too for anybody out there. I'll put this on the screen. One thing that's, I mean, there's so many things I like about Nace and Jordan, but this is their website. It's Grid Down Chowdown. It's a family business, okay? And Jordan, can you tell us who this person is? Who is this person?
that would be Nace's lovely wife.
Oh, there he is. Family business. This is Nace's wife. And again, it's very simple. You can check out there. You want to use promo code MELK because you get a discount and you're supporting.
Actually, we're using code MEL.
Promo code MEL, not melatonin, not melon, not black melon, just MEL. Promo code MEL. So what in the Mel? Promo code MEL, MEL. Use promo code MEL, MEL. That's where you go. But I'll just say, with Nace and Jordan and their business, Mel, as we were talking about, before we brought them on, we've got to be resourceful. And we have to have the mindset of like, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And I can just be very real with you, and I'll just be vague about the numbers. These guys have ridden through a storm of where the U.S. military, the Tesla, these huge companies are beating down their door wanting to buy manufacturing products. They're an American manufacturer, which is rare to find. It's hard to find American manufacturers. And Mel, as the American manufacturing has been outsourced to countries that are working impossibly cheap because they're subsidized by the Chinese Communist Party, right? So they keep year after year finding a new niche, a new product, a new thing that they can sell to the marketplace. Mel, think about how difficult it is. I don't even know. You said it was 0.5% of the population is producing food. What percentage of our population is manufacturing anything?
Not much more than that. It's interesting too. Before COVID, as you know, Clay and Rob, I was working with a farm out in near me and trying to create hydroponic feed for cattle and horses because of the what I was learning about that cows that feed on grass where there's pollutants that the soil and everything was so bad that it would take 2 days or 3 days after the cow ate for it to even cut through all the garbage till it was actually getting some of the nutrients. And then once it got to the plate, it was like barely anything that was meant to be for the human to feed us and to nurture, like all the nutrition was gone. And that's really because we need to do regenerative farming. We need to, fix the soil and all of that. But if you can find a farm that is doing the right thing and eating and they're grass fed that way, then you're getting like 3 times better nutrition than you would get on any other. And even if it says grass fed, it matters where it is grass fed. And I didn't really know that. I mean, they were looking for ways. This was also for racehorses because what they were getting by eating grass off the ground was sick, basically, and their bodies would fight for 3 days before any nutrients went into the cow. So I was like, what is going on? So I've been looking at this for a very long time. And then when I looked at the website and I thought, oh, this is what they were talking about, which is if you don't look at where they are grass fed, then you're not really getting grass fed beef. You have to actually know the farm. And in this scenario, you do know the farm. You are the friends of the actual farmer. So, I mean, that is important to know where your meat is coming from, where your cows graze. A lot of people don't think about it, but it is very important.
Now, Mel, I'll just say, I was going to interrupt one thing here, Nace. I wanted to make sure people get this idea because you guys are living out what we're teaching, So step 1, it's like, if it's going to be, it's up to me. You're doing it. But step 2, 3, 4, 5, real fast here. You got to find a problem, which you guys clearly saw the problem. You're like, wow, the power went out and all of a sudden we can't feed our family. Find a problem. Step 2, you solve the problem. And by the way, it was not easy for you to solve the problem. If I may go into the minutia, you guys had to buy the equipment, research the equipment, retool the equipment, set up the equipment, test it. They were making meat for their own family going, wife, kids, family, see if you don't die, eat this. And then as for eating your own stuff, they actually went on a carnivore diet and ate only the food for a long period of time before they rolled it out to the consumer. So again, you found a problem, you solve it. Step 3, you have to sell it. And that's a little bit embarrassing when you rolled out this product and you're like, okay, hopefully someone buys it because you got all the money invested, hundreds of thousands of dollars of tools, machines, people, employees. It's a lot that went into it. So you went out there and sold it. Then after that, you're nailing it and scaling it. So again, you say, what are those 5 steps? Step 1, if you say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Step number 2, find a problem. Step number 3, solve the problem. Step number 4, sell that solution. And step number 5, Mel, you got to nail it and scale it. And that's what they're doing here. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Nace, but I want people to understand, you guys literally tested this product on yourself for a long time. And they went carnivore diet just so they could try it to see what would happen to their own bodies before they sold it. That is a true story.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to touch base with just what Mel K was saying. She was talking about the nutrients. This is actually freeze dried, so it's a lot different than actually dehydration. So we don't have to do preservatives in this meat. It's actually all we're doing is taking out all the moisture in a high compressor chamber, And so it leaves all the nutrients in there. So all your megas, your proteins, they're going to come back to life when you bring it back to life. Another thing that you said, Milky, is actually when we started this product, it was kind of interesting. We started a lot of people buying this product for their animals, for their dogs, for their cats, because if they do all the other things that you can buy on the shelf that last for 10, 20 years, 30 years, has a lot of sugar in it, and they can't feed that to the animals or they'll die. So we started seeing people need this, people want it, but for the animals, and we created beef jerky for the people. Also, Jordan just created beef jerky treats for all the other animals with just basically just raw beef.
Cool.
Right.
Great. Awesome.
And you were talking about grass fed. Well, kind of newsflash, all cattle are grass fed. And I think what you said is important. Where are they getting that grass at?
Right.
You know, is it getting sprayed glyphosate all over it? What is happening? And then two, how are they finished? Because I was talking about the omega-3s and the omega-6s. They're at a 1-to-1 ratio on a grass-fed, grass-finished animal. And whenever you start going to the feedlot with all the GMOs, it starts going from a 1-to-1 to a 1-to-5, 1-to-15, 1-to-25. It goes really high. And so if you start seeing any blockages, that's why heart attacks are going through the roof. That's why strokes are going through the roof, because we've been taught we want to eat that corn-fed beef. We want that marbling. And there's just a lot of toxins in there. So this is the healthiest way to do it right here. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're excited to team up with you guys. And also, Clay has raved about just how much effort and energy you put in. You know, when he takes people on, and you guys have been with him for a while, he doesn't stick around if you're not doing your part. And we just started working with him too. He's helping Rob and I with figuring out the future of what we do, because things are changing so much. And it's just really great every time that we talk to somebody that has been inspired and had their lives changed and improved by working with Clay. It reminds us how lucky we are, because we're also creating a community, and we are very like-minded. We all believe in God and family and country and liberty and freedom. And I think it's really important that when people spend their money to buy anything, particularly this great, amazing product, that they also think about, you know what, my money's going towards people that align with me. So that's why a lot of times with Clay, when I go to his conferences or anything like that, I'm surrounded by people that are absolutely positive, driven, and are really good people. So I'm really excited to start the journey with you guys. And anything else there, Rob?
No, I just number one is we have this event coming up December 4th and 5th. So Clay will talk about that. And now we've added a new partner, our freeze-dried beef, and there's a lot of applications for it. So you just go there, go to Grid Down, Chow Down. We will have it on our partners page in the next week or so. But if you want to go right now, Grid Down, Chow Down, and just put in the code MEL. They've got amazing products. It fills a lot of voids that, whether it's for prepping or it's for, or just having, a spare, beef around the house. If you like to camp or hunt or hike, as they were saying, for pets, it's really good, because a lot of the pet food is garbage. So we appreciate you guys, partnering with us. And Clay, what would you like to say?
Well, I just wanted to say this real quick. That's probably an old school belief system I have. Maybe I'm just old school, but I kind of in my mind only like to work with people that I like and buy from people I like. And so I kind of view my life as a town. And in that town, we have a radio broadcaster, and I like her, and her name is Mel. And so I listen to the town radio show. And in our town, we have a guy we go to buy the beef, the town butcher. And that's where I go, Grid Down, Chow Down. And in our town, we have a precious metals guy that we can trust. And that's Andrew Sorcini over there at bh-pm.com. And I could list off all the companies. But what I'm saying is, I only work with people that I can trust, that have integrity. And so I'm just telling you, if you're watching today's show and you say, man, I need to be around good people, I want to share with you a story that happened at that last conference we did. And again, you can get tickets by going to thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com, and you can look it up there. It's Anaheim, California, December 4th and 5th, December 4th and 5th. And then, Mel, other note here, I want people to know this. We are going to bring back one Reawaken America event per the request of General Flynn and Eric Trump. So that's going to story happened June 19th and June 20th. And for all of this, if you use promo code MEL, okay, when you buy it, use promo code MEL, you're supporting the program. But this is the true story. There was a musician who came to this last event. Very talented, by the way, kind of lost. And he said to me, can you look at the contract I got offered? Very talented. And in this very nefarious, Hollywoodish contract, it had all sorts of non-disclosures, Mel, and all sorts of gotcha language. And I said, this contract is a contract, my friend, that I would not sign. And he says, okay, do you know of anybody that would sign me? Because I'd like to make an extra $4,000 or $5,000 a month to be able to, I like the offer, but I don't like the deal. I said, no problem. And at the conference, true story, there was a Christian man who was in attendance who was looking to put a musician on payroll for $3,000 a month plus commissions to basically be like a creative music director for 10 hours a week. And just that kind of connection happens in the audience. And I can't take credit for that. I can just say the people were in the room. And the young man comes up to me. He says, so you wouldn't sign this deal? I said, no, sir. He says, do you know of anybody that would pay me $3,000 or $4,000, maybe $5,000 a month to do what I do? Because this was a really big thing in my life and I wanted to be able to support myself. And I go, I don't do that. But there was a guy I just talked to who literally came up to me and said, I am a Christian ministry and I'm trying to bring on a guy. I got a budget, $3,000 to $4,000 a month plus commissions. And I need him to work about 10 hours a week remotely to help me edit, audit, produce music. Do you know of anybody? And I'm going, yes. And so I'm just trying to make those connections. I think that's a big thing, Mel, that happens at the conferences. That's a real story. And that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. We are super excited about our new partners. And we are excited that people out there are going to get a chance to have real meat that is good for you as God intended. Finally, it's very hard to find these days. You don't know what you're getting. And this is not just from the actual farm that they get it from, but it comes right to you. And I am excited. And also, Clay, thanks for connecting us. And thanks for also coaching Rob to start helping us figure out the future of podcasting and truth telling out there as well. So thank you so much, guys. And thank you, Clay. We'll see you all again soon.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called DJconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and people that parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. and you start your classes at 5 in the morning. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. You know, this is the creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed, and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's what was on Clay, this technology. You tell your group I was so impressed because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay, and what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to like 100% growth. Like we're like a full functioning company. It's great. Like we're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive. But I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that $1 clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or when was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay, and let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business, or was that something that you were maybe excited about, or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're gonna fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.
Whoa.